Okay.
Okay. Same shirt, jacket, glasses, the whole thing. So we're going to start on Acts 25. Paul's trial before Festus. So we switched from Felix to Festus. I'm glad they didn't have his first name anywhere else. 3 days after arriving in the Providence, Festus went up from Syria to Jerusalem, where the chief priest and the Jewish leaders appeared before him and presented the charges against Paul. They requested Felix, as a favor to them, to have Paul transferred to Jerusalem, for they were preparing an ambush to kill him along the way. Festus answered, Paul is being held in Caesarea, and I myself am going there soon. Let some of your leaders come with me, and if the man has done anything wrong, they can press charges against him there. So I don't think it was the 40 or so that was fasting. I don't think they fasted all that time waiting to kill Paul. In fact, I was reading in the commentaries, we was talking about that last time, that those guys probably got pretty hungry before. But I guess when they do one of those things like that and they say they're not going to eat or something, there's a stipulation in there that if it becomes impossible for them to do the job, that they ain't held to it. So I don't guess they starved to death. Okay. After spending 8 or 10 days with them, Festus went down to Caesarea. The next day he convened the court and ordered that Paul be brought before him. When Paul came in, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood around him. They brought many serious charges against him, but they could not prove them. Then Paul made his defense, and I have done nothing wrong against the Jewish law or against the temple or against Caesar. Festus, wishing to do the Jews a favor, said to Paul, are you willing to go up to Jerusalem and stand trial before me there on these charges? And Paul answered, I am now standing before Caesar's court, where I ought to be tried. I have not done anything wrong to the Jews, as you yourself know very well. If, however, I am guilty of doing something deserving death, I do not refuse to die. But if the charges brought against me by these Jews are not true, no one has the right to hand me over to them. I appeal to Caesar. And after Festus had conferred with his council, he declared, you have appealed to Caesar. To Caesar you shall go. And it said in the commentary, the only reason Paul could do that was because he was a Roman citizen. If he wasn't a Roman citizen, he couldn't have appealed to Caesar. But being he was a Roman citizen, then he was allowed to do that. So, a few days later, King Agrippa and Bernice arrived at Caesarea to pay their respects to Festus. Now, when I first read that, I thought Bernice was his wife, but Bernice is his sister. But then I read the commentary, and they said that it was kind of suspected that him and his sister was having an affair. So him and his sister was pretty close. But since they were spending many days there, Festus discuss Paul's case with the king. He said, there is a man here whom Felix left as a prisoner. When I went to Jerusalem, the chief priests and elders of the Jews brought charges against him and asked that he be condemned. I told them that it is not the Roman custom to hand over anyone before they have faced their accuser and have had the opportunity to defend themselves against the charges. When they came here with me, I did not delay the case, but convened the court the next day and ordered the man to be brought in. When his accusers got up to speak, they did not charge him with anything of the crime I had expected. Instead, they had some points of dispute with him about their own religion and about a dead man named Jesus who Paul claimed was alive. I was at a loss how to investigate such matters, so I asked if he would be willing to go to Jerusalem and stand trial there on these charges. But when Paul made his appeal to be held over for the emperor's decision, I ordered him held until I could send him to Caesar. So, if we remember back, Paul had a vision a couple, 3 chapters ago that God said that he wanted Paul to go to Rome. So this is, in a way, Paul's free ticket. It don't cost him anything because the Romans are sending to Rome. It seems like he's in a lot of trouble, but then in a way this is what God had planned for him, you know. So then Agrippa said to Festus, I would like to hear this man myself. He replied, tomorrow you will hear him. So Festus didn't fool around when he done things. He got things out of the way really quick. So here we go. Now Paul gets to go in front of King Agrippa. He'd been in front of Felix and now Festus, and now so he gets to talk to everybody. The next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with great pomp and entered the audience room with that threw me, audience room, yeah. But with like they was going to a performance or something, with the high-ranking military officers and prominent men of the city. So this was a get-together with all the elites. At the command of Festus, Paul was brought in. Festus said, King Agrippa and all who are present with us, you see this man, the whole Jewish community has petitioned. I had a hard time spitting that word out. Me about him in Jerusalem and here in Caesarea, shouting that he ought to not live any longer. I found he had done nothing deserving death, but because he had made the appeal to the emperor, I decided to send him to Rome. But I have nothing definite to write to his magistrate about him. Therefore, I have brought him before all of you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that as a result of this investigation, I may have something to write. For I think it is unreasonable to send a prisoner on to Rome without specifying the charges against him. So Festus is he said, I'm going to send him, but I ain't got nothing to tell him about it, you know, because it's about Jewish religion and the way and that they don't get along has nothing to do with Roman law. But being Paul had wanted to see the Caesar, he's going to Rome. So I guess we can stop this one.